In this lesson, I'm going to introduce you to the second set of 4 idea engines that you can use to generate good business ideas that have the potential to become successful businesses. Remember, even if you already have one or several business ideas you're excited about, the insights you get from this lesson and the ones that come afterward will give you a lot of clarity and confidence. In the last lesson, I introduced you to the first set of 4 idea engines: the fixers, waves, authority, and the CPL method. In this lesson, I'll introduce you to the second set of 4 very interesting idea engines. They are storm chasers, the piggyback, nurses, and platforms. Let's get started. The first idea engine in this lesson is the storm chaser. Now, storm chasing is a strategy for identifying business opportunities during storms. They could be economic storms, political storms, social or cultural storms, or technological storms. In essence, the goal of this idea engine is to identify business ideas and opportunities during times of rapid change, during times of trouble, of distress, of crisis, of suffering or calamity. The fact is, when storms happen, they cause a lot of change and create uncertainty that makes people and the market to panic. And when change happens, gaps are created in the market that favor those entrepreneurs who have relevant information or are ready to adapt to the changing situation. So let me share some interesting examples and success stories to drive home this point. Gurme Abraham and Metkel Zerai are the co-founders of Aptech, a provider of solar power solutions in South Sudan. Now, when civil war broke out in the country in 2013, most companies and contractors pulled out of South Sudan because of the uncertainty and political storm. But these 2 entrepreneurs stayed behind and benefited from all the new and half-done projects that no other company was prepared to do during that period of crisis. Now, even though they are both from Eritrea and run their business in the wider East Africa region, their business got a big boost in South Sudan because they had the opportunity to install solar equipment for several NGOs and government agencies, since they were one of the very few service providers that were still left in such a risky business environment. There's also another interesting example of business ideas born out of storms, and this is from the entrepreneur behind the Azalai Hotels chain, which is owned by the Malian entrepreneur Mossadegh Bali. Now, Mossadegh Bali is one of Africa's most successful hotel magnates, but his hotel empire started from a storm. Bali entered the hotel business in 1994 when he bought his first hotel through a government privatization program. Now, at that time, Mali was both an economically and politically unstable country that had just emerged from a military coup, and most international investors didn't want to bid for the grand hotel that Bali bought in Bamako. So today, Mossadegh Bali has built Azalai Hotel. From that first hotel he bought out of a time of economic and political storms, he's now built it into a chain of 8 business hotels in 5 West African countries with revenues of more than 15 million euros as at 2013. So let's look at a couple of upsides and downsides of storm chasing as an idea engine. Now, one upside is that you can benefit from situations and opportunities that other people are afraid of, giving you the chance to enjoy a near monopoly advantage. Another upside is that the profit margins from storm situations can be very beneficial because there's usually a lot of demand and you may have a lot of leverage and control on the supply side. In terms of downsides, it's important to note that storms can present very risky and dangerous situations, and there is a chance you could suffer heavy financial losses. Another downside is that the confusion and lack of transparency that is common in storm situations can expose you to unethical and illegal practices that could hurt your reputation and ultimately your business. So, to generate good business ideas using the storm chaser engine, get a piece of paper or open a Word document on your computer and create 2 columns. In the first column, make a list of some of the big storms you notice gathering around you that could lead to big changes. These storms could be economic storms, they could be political storms, social or cultural storms, legal, environmental, or technological storms. And in the right column, write down how you could benefit from each storm. What product, what service or arrangements can you create or introduce to benefit from the storm? The second idea engine I want to tell you about is the piggyback. Now, your strategy with this engine is to lean or ride on an already successful brand, product, or service. Now, sometimes there is no point to recreating the wheel or starting a new business from scratch. If there's another business that already has a product that is a hit in the market, that is doing well and is already popular with consumers. So your goal with the piggyback strategy is to find a way to become a supplier or a distributor or an affiliate or a joint venture partner or an agent or franchise of an already successful business or brand. So the goal here is to infuse yourself into the chain of that business. Now, unlike the CPL method where you can informally copy and localize the product, with the piggyback strategy, you have to officially work with or partner with the owners of the business or the owners of the successful business or brand you want to piggyback on. Now, let me share a few examples and success stories so you see how this works. Indomie is a very popular noodle brand in West Africa, particularly in Nigeria and Ghana, and it sells millions of dollars worth of products every year. However, Indomie is an original noodle brand from Indonesia and is sold in West Africa due to a partnership arrangement between the owners of the Indomie brand in Indonesia and the Toleram Group, a company in Nigeria. So since Indomie was introduced to the Nigerian market in the late 1990s, it has become a staple that's widely consumed in the country. Now, while there are several local noodle brands in Nigeria, Indomie, a noodle brand all the way from Indonesia, controls up to a 70% share of the noodle market in Nigeria, a country with a population of over 200 million people. So, following its success with piggybacking on the Indomie brand in Indonesia and successfully introducing it into the Nigerian market, the Toleram Group is applying the same strategy by entering a joint venture with Kellogg's to market and distribute breakfast cereals and snacks across West Africa. So this is an example of a successful piggyback strategy. The Toleram Group did not create Indomie. They did not produce it. All they did was they saw it was a brand that had potential in Indonesia, and then they took it all the way from Indonesia in Southwest Asia and introduced it into the West African market. And it has become such a major hit in West Africa that brings in millions of dollars of revenue for the group. So again, this business did not create this noodle brand from scratch. It just leaned on an existing noodle brand and made a success out of it. There are literally hundreds of piggybacking opportunities with top global brands around the world. For example, Coca-Cola and Pepsi have partnership agreements with local bottling companies and distributors in different countries that make and sell their soda products. Also, car brands like Toyota, Honda, Ford, Mercedes, and others have partnership agreements with dealers and distributors around the world. These brands need help with distribution and sales of their products, and it creates an interesting opportunity for piggybacking. Now, rather than start your own fast food business from scratch, you could piggyback on the success and popularity of brands like McDonald's, KFC, or Domino's by investing in their franchise programs. So this is why partnership and distribution agreements are a powerful strategy that local entrepreneurs can use to piggyback on successful products and brands, sometimes international brands, and then introduce them to your own market. So let's look at a couple of upsides and downsides of the piggyback engine. One upside is you don't have to reinvent the wheel because you will be benefiting from a proven, well-known and successful product. For example, as a distributor for Coca-Cola, you don't really need to worry about sales because Coca-Cola is already a successful and popular brand on the market, and sales would automatically happen. So you don't need to worry about sales. Another upside is that most successful companies and brands often provide technical, business, and financial support to their partners, distributors, suppliers, and agents. So rather than make the mistakes most new businesses suffer, you will be benefiting from the systems and support of an established and successful company or brand. In terms of downsides, piggybacking a successful company or brand can limit your originality, creativity, and freedom because you have to follow the strict terms, conditions, and targets of a contract or agreement you have with a successful company or brand. Another downside of piggybacking is the high financial cost of entry that can sometimes come with piggybacking arrangements. So, for example, for many of the top brands, the cost of getting a franchise or becoming a distributor can be quite high. So, to generate good business ideas using the piggyback engine, as usual, get a sheet of paper or open a Word document on your computer and create 2 columns. In the first column, make a list of successful products, brands, or companies that you know. In the second column, make a list of items, products, or services that you can supply those companies. Remember, most successful companies and brands need help with supply, they need help with distribution, and they need help with expansion. They need help with services that can help them grow and become better. And they have the money to spend if you can help them. So your goal is to find a service that is valuable enough that could make them want you as their supplier, their distributor, their agent, or partner or contractor. The third idea engine I'll talk about in this lesson is the nurse engine. Now, this is quite interesting. Like a nurse, this strategy focuses on business ideas that provide products and services that are so basic, so important, and so fundamental that people cannot live with them. Basic needs typically include water, food, shelter, clothing, energy, communication, transport, and a number of other basic needs. So these are known as physiological needs, and businesses that provide these products enjoy guaranteed demand because humans cannot survive without things like food and water, and modern society can barely function without energy, communication, and transport services. So let me now share a few examples and success stories of entrepreneurs who have used the nurse engine very effectively. Now, at the time of recording this lesson, Aliko Dangote is Africa's richest person. A significant chunk of his wealth comes from businesses that provide basic products that fit into people's everyday lives. His business empire includes salt, sugar, pasta, and flour, which are key and very strategic food products. A big chunk of his wealth comes from cement, which is the single most important raw material for building houses, schools, hospitals, roads, and bridges. And most recently, Dangote is building Africa's largest petroleum refinery in Lagos, Nigeria. Now, fuels like petrol, diesel, and kerosene are so important to modern life that it will be almost impossible to live in a world without a reliable source of energy. Now, as you can see, Dangote's strategy is to focus on basic everyday products that help humans and society function. I didn't even mention fertilizer, which is a key arm of his business empire, and fertilizer is invaluable in the agricultural industry. So it's impossible to build a viable agricultural industry without fertilizer, and Dangote is a key producer and supplier of fertilizer. So as you can see, his strategy is to focus on products that are so basic that people cannot do without them, and it's no surprise that many of his products have guaranteed demand. Another interesting example is Tiger Brands. Tiger Brands is a conglomerate in South Africa, which is and Tiger Brands is Africa's largest food company as at the time of recording this lesson. Tiger Brands products include everything from bread, baby food, and breakfast cereals to pasta, grains, pet food, and toiletries. Now, as you can tell, all of these products meet basic needs in everyday life, and most people just cannot live without things like, say, bread or say baby food and things like that. And every year, Tiger Brands makes over $2 billion in sales. So now that you've seen how the nurse engine works, let's consider the upsides and downsides of business ideas that are built on this engine. One upside is that there is always a huge market demand for products and services that meet basic daily needs. People will always buy food, they will always need water, they will always need accommodation, clothing, and other basic needs. Another upside is that there is a large diversity of products and services to choose from. All you need to do is identify the basic needs that are unmet in your immediate market. In terms of downsides, one major downside is the presence of strong competition, since most products and services in this category are commoditized and undifferentiated. So as a result, while market demand for basic products and services is very high, the market is often crowded, and your biggest challenge will be the tight competition. Now, another downside is that the profit margins on basic products and services are quite slim, because everybody is selling basically the same things to the same people. So to survive in this kind of market, in a commoditized market, you need to find a way to be unique and stand out from the competition, or serve a segment of the market that is willing to pay a premium for the products and services that you provide. So to generate good business ideas using the Nurse engine, same strategy: get a sheet of paper or open a Word version on your computer or your device, and in the first column, make a list of basic needs that are unmet or barely available in your target market. And then in the right column, put down ideas for products or services that you could provide to satisfy those basic needs. The fourth idea engine I'll share with you is platforms. Now, a platform is a place where there is already a concentration of consumption. A platform is a place where people are already spending money. Now, platforms are places where a lot of buying and selling is already happening. They are places where customers may already be spending a lot of money, or entrepreneurs may already be making a lot of money. That's why platforms are powerful. These days, the most prolific platforms are on the internet. The internet is now the mother platform on which other platforms like e-commerce, social media, app stores, and other types of marketplaces have flourished. Now, your goal with this strategy is to choose a thriving platform and exploit it for commercial success. Let me share a couple of interesting examples and success stories of entrepreneurs who are crushing it with platforms. So, Amazon is one of the biggest platforms in the world. People buy and sell billions worth of different kinds of products on the e-commerce platform every day. Mark Dawson is a British writer who has built a multi-million-dollar publishing business on Amazon. As of 2015, Dawson was selling thousands of copies of his books on Amazon and raking in nearly $500,000 annually in sales from books alone. So Dawson is just one example of entrepreneurs who leverage e-commerce platforms like Amazon and Alibaba and several others to sell all kinds of products, from books and gadgets to fashion and beauty products. Now, Mark Dawson wasn't doing as well until he got on a platform. He was just a normal writer, an independent writer, an indie writer who was just writing stuff and was selling maybe a few hundred copies. But getting on a platform like Amazon changed everything, and that's because most people who buy books come to a platform like Amazon to buy books. And then if you can get on a platform like that, what it means is that you're putting a product before people who are already primed and ready to buy. So that's an interesting power of platform business ideas. Find a product or service that will do well on a platform, find the right platform, and then see what happens. Another interesting platform is social media. Now, Iwuoha TV is the success story I want to use here, and it's an on-demand online video streaming service for African movies. Now, the interesting thing about Iwuoha TV, even though it's a big company now, it's a business that started on YouTube. And it started on YouTube as a channel that was that had African movies on it. And after a few years of attracting an audience on YouTube, Iwuoha TV moved to its own platform, taking with it all the fans it caught on YouTube. Now, it was once regarded as the Netflix of Africa. Before Netflix actually came into Africa, Iwuoha TV was known as the Netflix of Africa because of its impressive catalog of African movies. Now, Iwuoha TV has evolved from a channel that started on YouTube, on the YouTube platform, into a media giant and production house that has raised more than $40 million from investors at the time of recording this video. And the interesting thing is, the success and potential of Iwuoha TV started because of the power of the YouTube platform. That's where it got its first initial users and fans and customers that gave it the might and the leeway to move away from YouTube to go to its own independent platform. Also, Instagram and Snapchat were very strategic social media platforms that played a key role in building Kylie Cosmetics into a successful brand, making Kylie Jenner the world's youngest billionaire at the time this lesson was recorded. So using social media as a marketing platform and leveraging her large social media following, especially on Instagram and Snapchat, Kylie Jenner created $1 billion business by creatively promoting her range of beauty products on social media. So there are literally thousands of entrepreneurs out there who have built thriving businesses that are making money from platforms like Uber. Uber is a platform, Airbnb is a platform, Facebook and Instagram are platforms, YouTube is a platform. The app stores, the Apple App Store, the Google Play Store, those are platforms. Amazon, Alibaba are platforms, Netflix is a platform, Spotify is a platform, and there are several other platforms out there. Every year, new platforms emerge and present new opportunities for entrepreneurs to build businesses that make money. So you need to keep your eyes open for new and interesting platforms. However, when it comes to platforms, there are a few upsides and downsides to look out for. One upside is that most platforms already have a ready market and a huge concentration of demand and consumption that you can exploit. As a result, platforms make it easier to find potential customers for your product or service. Another upside of using platforms is that most platforms provide tools, training, and support that can help you get started and succeed on the platform. In terms of downsides, one major downside is that most established platforms are already crowded and competitive. As a result, it may take considerable time and patience before you find success on some platforms. Another downside with platforms is your business will always be vulnerable if it's built on a platform you don't control or a platform that you don't own, which explains why Iwuoha TV had to move away from the YouTube platform and move onto its own platform. And it's the same thing across all platforms. Amazon, Alibaba, Uber, or any other platform, they can change their rules, they can change their policies, they can change their algorithms without notice, and your business may be adversely affected overnight. So while platforms are great, you need to always remember that you don't own them and you don't always control them. So you need to think long term. So to generate good business ideas using the platform engine, as usual, get a piece of paper or open a Word document on your computer and create 2 columns. In the first column, make a list of platforms you're aware of or interested in. And in the second column, put down ideas of products or services that you could offer on each platform that could lead to a sustainable business. So, in this lesson, I introduced you to the second set of 4 important idea engines. I introduced you to storm chasers, the piggyback, nurses, and platforms. In total, I've introduced you to 8 idea engines, and we still have 3 more to go. So if you follow the steps in this lesson, you will surely have a longer list of interesting business ideas that you're excited and passionate about. In the next lesson, I'll be introducing you to the last 3 idea engines: the Rockstar, Channel Play, and the Transformer. If you want to know what these strategies are and how to use them to generate good business ideas, you don't want to miss the next lesson. But before I end this lesson, I need you to do something. Head over to the comment section below this video and tell me which of the 4 idea engines in this lesson you like the most and why. If your comment is interesting enough, I could pitch in and give you some feedback. Also, more importantly, I need you to do somebody a favor. Use the social media buttons below this video to share this important lesson with your friends, with your family, and people you care about. A lot of people out there want to become entrepreneurs but have no clue about how to generate good business ideas, and some of them may end up chasing bad business ideas. So please share this lesson with everybody you know, and I'm sure they'll be grateful to you forever. See you in the next lesson. Cheers.